Maybe just start first by talking about the primacy of prayer.
Absolutely.
The importance of prayer in the work of evangelization. This link between holiness and mission that St. John Paul II talks about. You know, of course, the church has always emphasized that one cannot be without the other. And I know that it's tempting to get right into the practicals and talking about how do we do this, this apostolic work. But maybe we could pause and just talk about the significance of our prayer life, the significance of our interior life. So what role does prayer play in evangelization and discipleship?
Absolutely. I mean, I think the Lord really, throughout Scripture, we hear things, being tied to the vine. I mean, it's absolutely vital for us to be people of prayer if we're going to talk about evangelization, discipleship.
Yeah.
I think we can't be like Jesus if we're not availing ourselves to the gift of Jesus in prayer. We think about it like that. So I often like to tell people three simple things about what prayer really is. Again, I think there's an overcomplication of what prayer is in the life of a Christian. So three things. First, St. Augustine said, prayer is nothing more than becoming a longing for God. So we hear, like, Jesus is on the cross, and what does he say? He says, I thirst. Like, he's showing, like, I thirst for you, I come, I long for you, I stand at the door and I knock.
Yeah.
I am here, waiting for you to be in communion with you. And we ourselves know we long to be in communion with God.
Right.
So all prayer is, from the beginning, is just bringing our longing to meet the longing of God. So we all have longings, desires.
Yeah.
Like, there's psalms, there's Taylor Swift songs. They're all rooted in a longing for communion. And so we go there in our prayer, uniting our longing with the longing of God. So that's where we start. The second thing is where we discover our deepest and truest identity. So I remember when I first came back to the church, I had a reversion. I was trying to meet God in prayer, and I started using words that I would never use, and they all ended in th, like Lord, let me saith the words you want, things like that. They weren't me, and I was like, this is how I thought I was supposed to pray, but God came to show me, like, there is a language of my heart that's unique to me.
Yeah.
Mother Teresa used to tell her sisters, hear your own name in the thirst of Jesus. And I think that is so profound. Hear your own name, like God is coming to speak to you very specifically.
Yeah.
So again, it's where our longing meets the longing of the Lord. It's where we find our deepest and truest identity. And then lastly, which I think this is most connected to evangelization, discipleship, it's where we discover our mission. It's where we discover our deepest calling. Again, referring to Mother Teresa, she would often say, you first meet the thirst of Jesus, and then he shows you how to find the thirst of him in the world and our brothers and sisters. So it's where we discover how it is that our specific callings, our gifts and charisms are to be used in the world. So that if we do not have that basis of prayer in our life, it's very challenging to live a life of mission because we don't know where we're coming from.
Yeah. We were talking about this before, Matt, but this... I haven't read this book. Have you read the book, The Soul of the Apostolate?
I have.
You've read it?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So
Kick my butt.
So this is an article. I got this from an article, commenting on this book, and I think Saint Bernard explains this, but the book is by Dom Chautard, right?
Yeah.
But he's basically talking about the significance of the relationship between the interior life and the active life. And so St. Bernard explains the balance using an interesting metaphor of the reservoir and the channel. He says, the channels let the water flow away and do not retain a drop. But the reservoir is first filled and then, without emptying itself, pours out its overflow, which is ever renewed. He says, we have many channels in the church today, St. Bernard added sadly, but very few reservoirs. And so this article goes on to say, like, the devil... knows the value of the interior life, and he'll often grant the apostle or the disciple maybe a purely superficial success if he can only prevent him from making true progress in the interior life. So Dom Chautard calls these successes sapphire, and then wisely points out that the devil will gladly trade a few sapphires of the active life for the diamond of the interior life.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
So good. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I can't really say anything better than he said, but like, our prayer is always a reference to love and mercy, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're meeting that love
Yeah.
and mercy, and you look out into the world, what people are longing for love and mercy without a connection to that diamond. We ourselves as people of the faith looking to be
Right.
evangelizers, to be folks who are disciples of Jesus, we can so easily be caught up in those
Yeah.
sapphires
Right.
because they feel good.
Right.
They feel good to us. It becomes self-referential.
Hmm.
But without really the depth of a prayer
Yeah.
life that's rooted in that diamond, then I don't know, the fullness of the mission is not really lived out.
I'm thinking about the story right now is of Martha and Mary,
Mhm.
and Mary sitting at the feet of Jesus, and Martha, busy doing things. What Jesus criticizes is not necessarily the activity, the actor, but her being worried and distracted about many things.
Yep.
And I think if we try to do evangelization, try to live a life of discipleship without abiding in the presence of Jesus daily, it's going to start to be cause us anxiety, cause us worries. Even in trying to do all the right things in evangelization, we're not abiding with Christ as well, choosing that better part, then I think we might be doing these tasks that may or may not be good things, but they'll lack that foundation.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
necessary to hand on the life of Christ. As you started off by saying, evangelization is inviting someone into a life of Christ. So we have to be abiding in that life
Absolutely.
in order to invite somebody into it.
Absolutely.